we've got a stereo store that sells three types of brands of stereo, now three, right? So we've got three unknowns, so I'm going to have three variables here. We've got three brands of these systems, A, B, and C. Now I can sell a total, here's that total again, so a total of 100 systems per month. Now brand A, B, and C take up, now here's that information, right? We have, okay, they take up some space, they generate certain sales, commissions, and let's see. Then we're given the profit on each. Now here's the question at the bottom. How many of each brand of stereo systems should be sold to maximize profit? So let's start by introducing three variables. Let X be the number of brand A systems that we're going to sell, Y be the number of brand B systems we're going to sell, and Z be the number of brand C systems we're going to sell. Now I'm going to make up a table here for A, B, and C, and I'm going to write it as A, B, and C, and I know A is going to be our X, A, B, and C, and then we're going to have some totals over here because we have some restrictions. So these are my categories, right? That's what my variables are, the categories, and we have these types of systems, so those are my categories. Now over here I'm going to put the characteristics of each category. So what do we have for characteristics? Well, they take up a certain amount of space, and they generate certain commissions. So maybe we could have like space over here, and we have commissions here, and then they all generate some profit. Now I like to separate that profit function and separate the totals. So what do we know about these brands? Well, up here it tells us that brands A, B, and C take up respectively this many cubic feet of warehouse space, 5, 4, and 4. So I'll bring that down here. 5, 4, and 4. And what else do we know here? And we have a maximum of 480 feet available, cubic feet available. All right, so over here in columns, in this column here of totals, we have at most, all right, at most, less than or equal to 480 cubic feet. And now what about commissions? Well, commissions, I already filled it in here, but what about commissions? A, B, and C generate sales commissions of $40, $20, and $30, respectively, and we have at most $3,200 to pay in commissions. So we'll take that 40, 20, and 30, put them under commissions, and we don't have to pay all of it, but we've got, so it's going to be less than $3,200 available for commissions. Now what about our profits? So down here at the bottom it says the profit generated by each sale is 70, 210, and 140. All right, so let's fill those in. So the profit here is 70, and then 210, and 140. So now I'm going to write from this our linear program. So we want to maximize our profit, and the profit is $70 times the number of A-type stereos we sell, that's our X, 210 times the number of B systems we sell, that's our Y, and 140 times the number of C systems that we sell, that's our Z. So here's our objective function right here. We want to maximize that subject to these constraints. And I'm going to start off with a constraint that's not listed in our table down here. And that is right up here at the top. It says the total that we can sell is 100. So this does not appear in our table because I couldn't find a convenient way to write it. But what we know is this, that the number of systems, if we add those together, that's the total number of systems, that has to be less than or equal to 100. Now the other two do appear, so what we're going to have is 5x plus 4y plus 4z, that's less than or equal to 480, and then 40x plus 20y plus 30z, that's less than or equal to 3,200. And of course, x greater than 0, y greater than or equal to 0, z greater than or equal to 0. And there is our linear program. The next thing to do is introduce our slack variable. So look at the first inequality. This is the number of systems that we sell. we may not sell them all. So I'm going to let U equal the number of unsold systems. So if I take the number of systems A that we sell, add the number of systems B that we sell, add the number of systems C that we sell, and then add the number of unsold, that will be exactly 100. Then we'll let, what was the middle one here? This is the amount of space that we have available. So I'm going to let V be the number of unused cubic feet. So we may not fill everything up with what we use right here, and this will be the number that we don't use. And then the last inequality here, this is the amount we have for sales commissions. So I'm going to let W be the number of dollars that we don't use for sales commissions. We're going to solve this using our Zwig Media site technology. So the address is on the syllabus. Go there and that will take you to this screen. This is the home screen for this. So in this field here, you're going to type your linear program. We're okay with decimal and we're okay with 6 significant digits. So we're ready to start typing. So I've typed in my linear program. Maximize, here's the objective function, and the subject to has to be on the same line. Don't put it down here in the next line, you'll get an error statement. So all on one line, type in your constraints, and remember what we said before, that less than or equal to, you have to type in like this, less than or equal to. Once you've got it typed in, just come down here to the solve key, the solve button, and press solve. Now here's what I got. I got our initial tableau, right? The X, Y, Z, the U, V, W, and the P. If we had set it up by pencil, we would have done this. And then it took only one set of row operations to get down to our final tableau. Now to be sure, when you look at your result, go down into that tableau section here and scroll up, or scroll down. Make sure that this one you're looking at is the final tableau. Now look at what we have here. In the X column, you do not have a 1 and all zeros. So the only way the system can be consistent is for X to be 0. So up here, I will write that X is 0. And then what do you get for Y? Well, look at the Y column. Now you have a 1 and all 0, so we're going to get a value for Y other than 0. So Y is 100. Interesting. And what about Z? Well, when you go to the Z column now, you do not have a 1 and all zeros, so Z has to be 0. And let's see, while we're at it, why don't we just get the rest of them too? What about, now, slack 1, slack 2, slack 3, that's Zwig Media's way of saying U, V, and W. So what do you know about U? You do not have a 1 and all zeros, so U is equal to 0. What about V? Well, V, you've got a 1 and all zeros, so V, that value is going to be 80. And what about W? You have a 1 and all zeros, so W, I'm going to give the value of 1200. And then one more here, the important one here is P. You got a 1 and all zeros, so P is 21,000. So what does it all mean? Well, if you remember what the question was, it said this, that X is the number of type A systems we're going to sell. Apparently we're not going to sell any of those to maximize our profit. Y, that was the number of type B systems we should sell 100. And Z is the number of type C systems. Well, apparently we should sell 0 of those. So it looks like we're going to maximize our profit at $21,000 if we just sell all type B systems. Now I'll write that in a minute, but what about this over here? So U is 0. Now U is the number of unsold systems. We're saying there's no unsold systems, and sure enough, we're selling all 100 of system Bs. So U is 100, no unsold systems. Now V, what was V? V was the number of unused cubic feet we had for storage space. So originally we had up to 480 cubic feet available, and now V is 80, so the number of unused space is 80 cubic feet. And W, this was the number of unused dollars for commission. We're saying there's $1,200 left over from commission. Originally there was $3,200 available. Guess we spent only $2,000 because we have $1,200 left over that we could allocate elsewhere. Now to answer our question, which was, how many systems of each type should we sell to maximize the profit? Let's just say what everything is. The profit is maximum at $21,000 if we sell, now here's our answers, 0 type A systems, 100 type B systems, and 0 type C systems.